There was a limit
Yeah.
on the deposit, and
Yeah.
if he deposited too much, if his business did too well,
Yeah.
he had to pay a penalty.
Yeah.
That's just insane. I can't even
Right.
think with that. Hey everybody, Greg Winteregg here for Matterhorn Business Development, and welcome to the second in our series of how to get your own business started. More concisely said, our business startup series. And I'm joined today by my awesome daughter, Abby Johnson. And Abby, I always tease Abby, is like she's the smart one in the family. Abby has been very, very instrumental in a couple of different companies, helping them square away all of their accounts and their banking and their customer resource management systems, etc. And so she definitely has a gift in that area. So when we're talking about starting up a company, you're gonna have to open some bank accounts. And there's a right way and a wrong way to do that. Mm-hmm. And the temptation is there to go ahead and make some money and put it in your pocket. And okay, you can do that to get started, but then you're not really treating it like a business. So then, Abby, let's just get back to basics. Drill right down to basics mm-hmm. of how does somebody do this and what are the pitfalls? And why should they even have a bank account? Why does it matter when you're getting started?
First of all, on the why you should have a bank account, you mm-hmm. said it. If you really want to start a business, you need to treat it like a business. It needs to be separate from your personal finances. You're going to have business expenses that you need to be tracking throughout the year.
They're tax deductible.
They're tax deductible.
You need to have a record.
Yeah, you have to have a record. So if it's in with your own expenses, then that can get messy.
Then it's not a business, it's a hobby.
Yeah,
so you kind of need to decide, is it a business or is it a hobby? Am I serious about it or is it just a hobby?
Right.
Yep.
And it's like a discipline point where if the money's just there, you're going to spend it, especially if it's in your own personal bank account.
Right.
So yes, it needs to be in its own bank account so mm-hmm. that, and you have that rule for yourself, like this is for business expenses. This isn't for me to go buy some new shoes at the mall. This is for paying for marketing or whatever you need.
Okay, so now what are some of the pitfalls when somebody goes out to open up an account? How many accounts should they have to begin with? Mm-hmm. Is it checking? Is it savings? Just in a few minutes, what are some of the basics?
So a lot of people don't know, and they will just go to a bank and your knee-jerk reaction is like, oh, I bank at X bank that is a big bank, no names to be thrown under the bus, and I bank there, so I'll just go there and open it there. But the thing is with business accounts, all of the big major banks, the ones that are popping into your head right now, they all have criteria for the different kinds of accounts. So the simple business banking account requires you to deposit at least $5,000 a month and use your debit card 10 times a month, but you can't deposit more than $20,000 a month. So you really have to be clear on that, and hopefully the person that you're with is very transparent about that. But I was just talking to someone the other day who really didn't know, and they just opened an account, and it turned out he was depositing too much money and he was getting penalized for it.
That's laughable. So there was a limit on the deposit, and if he deposited too much, if his business did too well, he had to pay a penalty.
Yeah.
That's just insane. I can't even think with that.
Right, and especially as a startup, you don't know. So for Matterhorn, we went to go open our accounts and we were like, we have no idea what our deposits are gonna be. We have no idea we didn't know anything, but we needed somewhere to put our money. So that's why I'm promoting to everyone, and this is what we did, is to seek out a credit union. Mm-hmm. Credit unions are really for the people and for their customers and don't have fees. You just go and open an account and you keep your money there. So that's what we did with Matterhorn, because it gives us the flexibility of, especially when we were a startup, it didn't matter if we only made $100 in that first month and didn't use our debit card. The $100 was sitting there. So I really advise most people to look into that, because it makes it easier and flexible as a startup business.
Okay, good. So then they need to be sure they read the restrictions on the account and be really upfront and be willing to go somewhere else.
Yes, for sure. Don't get
married
don't get
to one
attached
particular
to
organization.
Yeah, just because maybe you have had a good personal banking experience at your big bank, it's completely different when you're a business owner, and they treat you, and the fees are different when you're a business owner. You also had asked how many accounts.
Yes.
I would say to start, just get a basic checking and savings account. We will be having some more videos in the future about the number of accounts you should be having
Yes.
and what to do with them. But just if this is day 0 for you, just get a checking and a savings. The savings, you should start putting aside some sort of small percentage of all of your income. And again, we will tell you down the road what to do with that. But if you make it a practice from the beginning to start setting money aside, it's really going to be much better for you in the future.
And then let's just, not to drag this out too long, but let's just talk about some sort of a digital, like QuickBooks or something like that. That's pretty much, I mean, it's not mandatory, but it's sure going to make things easier at tax time to run a summary. So what kind of advice can you give to people on just something like that, how to get started very simply?
Yeah, so we actually recently made a whole video on why you need to have your books in order. So we will link that in one of these corners. Watch that whole video, it is very important. But yes, you should have QuickBooks, or another common one is called Xero, Xero. You need some sort of tracking system. I would not suggest a spreadsheet. I know some people do that and some people promote it, but these other accounting systems, like, they aren't that hard to learn.
Right.
I don't know if I'm ignorant in saying that because I've been using them for so long, but it's really not that hard to learn, or to hire a bookkeeper an hour or 2 a week to keep it up.
And how
for
much
you.
does the software cost to get started with QuickBooks or something like
They
that?
have all kinds of deals. They usually have a discount the first few months, but generally it'll go up to like $60 a month.
If you just use the online cloud service or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So do your research on this. This is a really important part, and if you're really going to have a business, you're really going to treat it like a business, this is something that you want to use to create your future. This is important stuff. We recently brought on a new client who actually hadn't balanced the checkbook for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And this business was doing 20, 30, 40, upwards of, after we started working with them,
Right.
60,000 in a month.
Yeah.
So this is important. And you're like, oh, one day when I'm big, I'll get to it. But then you get big and then you're too busy to get to it. And then all of a sudden it spins out of control really fast.
Right.
So this is important. Get off on the right foot. And we hope this has been helpful. We've got lots more for startups where this is coming from.
And if you need our help, all of our contact information is in the description box below, and we can help answer any other questions you have about this.
All right, see you again soon.